The Wycombe Wanderers Show.
Welcome to the penultimate Wycombe Wanderers Show of the season. Coming up in this hour, sad news, isn't it? We'll be reflecting on, briefly of course, the defeat at Adams Park on Saturday in the final home game of the season against Cheltenham. We've got our match debrief from Phil. We'll hear from the manager, Matt Bloomfield. Will also talk to us ahead of the trip to Pompey on Sunday lunchtime. Bit different, isn't it? That's coming up as well. We'll also hear from Nick Freeman, who's been chatting to us in the build-up to that game as well. We've got a preview of Knowing Me, Knowing Blues, which this week features, as its guest publication, Chris Farino. There's a bit of a scientific aspect to it as well. Make sure you don't miss that. Plus, also, furthermore, with big thanks as always to the Wycombe Wanderers Ex-Players Association, we'll catch up with legendary skipper Glyn Creaser, 30 years on from lifting the conference title, which is obviously very exciting, and we'll really be looking forward to finding out how he's doing as well, a couple of years on from his cardiac arrest as well. That's coming up in the next sort of 20 minutes or so. Lots to get through this hour as well. Plus, of course, we've got news about the kit. We'll reflect on Wycombe Wanderers women as well, and lots more to bring you too, including catering news and, of course, our coverage of the final game of the season, which, as mentioned, is at the earlier kick-off time, or the later kick-off time, later in terms of the day, earlier in terms of the time. I've made that much trickier than it should be. But first, let's bring you Phil's take on, obviously, what was disappointing, both result and performance at Adams Park last Saturday.
Yeah, not a great day, really, was it? It's a tough game to commentate on as well, by the way. Yeah, Cheltenham don't have to do a huge amount, but they came away 3-0 victors. Alfie May scored. I think a lot of Wycombe fans would have predicted that, but even before kick-off, he's a hell of a player. But yeah, Wycombe Wanderers were not good on Saturday. It wasn't a performance to round off the season at home in front of the fans, and yeah, it was one. I think the manager spoke about taking the medicine this week from that one. But yeah, it looked like an end of season display with nothing to play for, which obviously Matt Bloomfield didn't want that. The fans certainly didn't want that. But hopefully it can be rectified at Pompey on Sunday.
Did some of the changes surprise you?
No, I think it's good without the pressure of trying to get the 3 points to get in the top six. With that lifted, I think it was good to have a look at some of the younger players. Makes sense, really, because we're now looking ahead to next season already. I think Rob, the chairman, was saying that we're in sort of already planning that now, which is unusual for Wycombe, because we've already had exciting ends to the season. But this time we haven't. It means that we get a proper break. But work has already started, and I think that lineup was reflective of that as well. But again, I don't think the changes were why the team played badly as they did. But it was interesting to ask Matt that after the game, and here's what he had to say.
I'm extremely disappointed and angry about today. That wasn't us second half. I thought first half we started fairly well on the front foot. And unfortunately we kind of came away from the game plan a little bit and conceded, so we're very disappointed about that. But we've learnt a lot about the boys today. I think it's important that we learn as much as we possibly can over these last two games. It was good for Christy Ward to get some more minutes in his legs. It was good for Gapey to get first start in a while. But certainly not the way we wanted to finish the season, certainly not the way we wanted to sign off here at Adams Park. The supporters have been turning up in their numbers all season to support the boys. We're obviously very disappointed by the way the day's gone.
Is it about growth mentality at this stage of the season, already looking into pre-season and next season, and what we can take from today into that?
Yeah, it has to be. We have to learn as much as we possibly can over these last 2 weeks, because it's an important pre-season coming up for us. It's important summer coming up for us as a football club. We have to prepare and be ready for that. So no problem with that. But at the same time, we wanted to win the game. We wanted to play well. We wanted to sign off at Adams Park with a good performance. So unfortunately that didn't happen today.
He made a few changes coming into this as well. Dominic Gate back to fitness, debut for Harvey Cartwright as well. Is that as well looking to the future?
Yeah, most certainly so. We wanted to learn about Harv. We wanted to see where he's at. He's been training extremely well, and we wanted to give him an opportunity to play. Also we need to learn a little bit more about Dominic, where he's at with his fitness. Coming back from a spell out he's had, and he's been training well, been coming on a sub a couple of times, and we wanted to give him an opportunity to play. So yeah, opportunities to learn. Again, Christie, add to his experience, but at the same time we want to win, and we're extremely disappointed that we didn't win today. It's not just about learning, we wanted to win the game as well.
Rob, the chairman's been here this week as well. He signed the deal before the game to get a 90% stake in the club. How have those conversations been with Rob this week, having him here?
Yeah, it's obviously been extremely pleasing for that point of view, the extra percentage being signed over to Rob. His back into this football club has been incredible over the last few years, since him and Pete and Missy have been involved here. And just before the pandemic, who knows where this football club would have been if it hadn't been for their help getting through that extremely tough time. So it's fantastic news for us as a football club. We've had talks during the week, and we've been building plans, and I'm actually really looking forward to implement those plans. So we have to make sure we sign off the season right at Fratton Park next week, and then we have to do what we need to do.
Really interesting, obviously, as you say, to hear from the manager, and obviously you spoke to him after the game in the bar afterwards as well. That must have been quite an interesting sort of occasion, if you like. Yeah, I mean, Matt, as you could hear from his voice there, was quite angry and upset about the performance, it had been announced beforehand that he was going into the bar, so he didn't shirk it. He didn't, and he went in there, and the reception he got, I think, really lifted him. Actually, the fans singing his name. I think they're appreciative of the situation that he's come into and what he's doing, and are fully behind him, which was great to hear. But yeah, it's really good for him as well to be able to thank the fans, those ones in the bar as well afterwards, and hopefully he can thank a lot more on Sunday with a good performance. And the chairman was on the pitch as well, signing over the sort of new ownership agreement. That feels like something really positive. Yeah, it's been a long time coming, having been getting updates from Rob on this for I think 8 or 9 months now. So it's good, I think, good news for the club. Rob and Missy on the pitch beforehand signing it was a good statement, and hopefully now that can pave the way for a decent season next season. And it feels like this Sunday a great opportunity for players and fans alike to really hopefully enjoy a real high to the end of the season. Yeah, hopefully, an early kick-off on a Sunday, midday, but it's a wonderful stadium, Fratton Park, one of the great stadiums of English football. I can't wait to see the Spanish fans, Lemedi and Glazer, coming in good numbers. They bring the party anyway. That final day of the season is always a bit of fancy dress thrown in, people making a bit more effort, so it should be hopefully a cracking atmosphere, and I really hope it's a game to match as well. Wycombe have never won there in the league, so it'd be a good time to do that. And let's not forget, without trying to big it up too much, whoever wins this game will finish 8th rather than 9th. And is there anything in particular you're hoping to see on the pitch? I'd love to see Wycombe just put in a really good sort of unified performance, get the win, and give us a nice little springboard into the summer. I'm waiting for the manager a bit later on, but I guess many players will be playing to impress him for sort of contracts and what to do next season. Yeah, I think this term on the beach is bandied about a lot in football, and perhaps understandably after last week, a lot of fans were talking about it like that. I didn't see a lack of effort last week. But you're right, players and everyone, they've got their futures to look after, be it at the clubs they're at, or maybe they might not be here next season. There's going to be a lot of decisions have to be made. So yeah, look, we've seen it in training this week. It's pedal to the metal, and that's how it should be. And obviously a bit of a journey for you. Is there anything en route that you'll be able to hopefully collect, perhaps? Well, I'm taking the train. The day from Central London, the day after the coronation. What could possibly go wrong? Join us next week on the Wycombe Wanderers Show to find out what possibly went wrong. Phil will be speaking to us then. He'll also, of course, be bringing you ball by ball, as we don't say enough, match commentary on Sunday, and you can catch that full interview with Matt Bloomfield, of course, on Wanderers TV as well, where you'll also be able to hear full match commentary, as well as on Wycombe Sound 106.6. I'm very pleased to say Luke joins us to tell us a bit more about what fans can expect on Sunday. Well, I might be able to, as I'm going down on what has been referred to as the fun bus, I might be able to actually go to the service station. I might be able to bring that this week. Yeah, brilliant. Wooden ducks, do you think? Well, no one's actually been able to find any wooden ducks, so possibly not. Are they mythical, do you think? There's no... Well, they weren't last season, and then weirdly, since the war in Ukraine, they've gone missing. So I'm not sure what's happened. We did find some bodiless ones in Waterstones that have been turned into umbrellas. Oh, okay. Yeah, so there you go. Wooden duck news. Yeah. Join us next week for no mention of that at all. No, but on Sunday, you'll be able to hear... Well, unless you're listening to this on Sunday, then hello. Just after 10 o'clock, from 11, we'll be live from Portsmouth to bring you build up to the game. Got it right this time. And then live commentary with Phil. And I believe Mr. Matthew Cecil on live from 12 o'clock. very nice way to wrap up the season.
Yeah.
And hopefully, as mentioned already, and probably to be heard a few times in the next hour or so, finishing on a high.
Yeah, exactly. And I think, obviously last week wasn't the way we wanted it, but it's still fourth. I think the best finish for Wycombe, fourth best. So is what I'm trying to say. So that's good. It's all positive.
Absolutely.
Thank you.
So we heard from Phil a short while ago, who we caught up with at the training ground shortly after coming from Adams Park, where the players were training earlier on today. That sounds like all the wrong way around, doesn't
Sorry,
it?
it wasn't the training ground.
We spoke to Phil at the training ground, and the players who were later at the training ground, having been at the ground where they were training.
It's very confusing.
But we also spoke to Nick Freeman, who is one of the highest appearance performers of the season.
We want to finish on a high, take some momentum into the off-season and into pre-season, and it's obviously a big game as well. Yeah, so we want to do things right, we want to do things professional, and ultimately it's preparation for next season as well.
So our preparation's been different this week, say, for a normal game, or is it just another game, really?
No, it's the same, just like a normal game, really, but obviously we're not playing for anything for playoffs, really, but we just want to finish the season strongly. I know we've been on a bit of a tough run, but we want to kind of put that right, and there's no way better to put that right than away to Portsmouth and Fratton Park.
And a nice sort of feeling for you as well, having played so much this season as well, after the injury that you went through.
Yeah, it was obviously tough last year. I was out for 9 months, only made 4 appearances, and lucky enough I've come back and able to make the most appearances I've made in a season before, so I'm really thankful for that, and I'm feeling good, so hopefully to carry that on and have a healthy career.
And does it feel like amongst the players a really kind of optimistic time to kind of really get going forward now as well under the comparatively new manager?
Yeah, of course, it's exciting. Obviously we didn't get to where we wanted to go, but I guess we'll have a full pre-season for the gaffer to implement his style and his principles going forward, so he'll have enough time to put that together, and then hopefully everything goes together and we'll start kicking on really and doing really well, so we're all enjoying it under the new manager, so yeah.
And I guess there's quite a nice feeling about going into the last game of the season as well. Yeah, as you say, you want to go out on a high, really.
Yeah, of course. It's been a long season. There's been plenty of games. There's been loads of changes, of course, around the place. And like I say, we want to finish on a high and play. And first and foremost, put a good performance in. Yeah, put a good performance in, prepared right, and hopefully get a good result as well. And then we can all enjoy our off summer and come back in raring to go.
It should be a great atmosphere as well for the travelling fans too.
Yeah, it's always a good atmosphere at Fratton Park. It's a great place to go to, so we're all excited for that on Sunday.
Nick Freeman speaking to us there with many people in the background.
Sorry.
One of those was you, wasn't it?
It was me, that's why I said sorry.
Of course, thank you. Apology expected. Accepted.
Thanks. Is it nearly the end of the season? Can you tell?
I know, yes. Really looking forward to next week, by the way. There's lots to listen out for.
Yeah, our predictions, which...
we might gloss over that bit.
Yeah, we might do very quickly.
We've got that to look forward to. We'll name our player of the season.
Ooh.
That's quite exciting. Well, what else can I tell you? We've got a compilation highlight, sort of, now that's what I call ex-players. Which quite
Volume 2?
Yes, of course. Well, 3, I think, altogether. Well,
possibly, yeah.
Because we did a sort of a half one at Christmas one season, didn't we? So the third series of this programme, we'll draw to a close with that. We'll have lots more as well. Hopefully, obviously, more from the manager, more from Phil, all sorts.
It's going to be good.
Hopefully some of the other players as well.
Maybe, you never know. Keep your fingers crossed.
Speaking of players,
yes.
Something which has been a real highlight of this season, No Me, No Blues.
Aha. I'm sad that it's coming to an end, and then for this season, it will be back.
It's been recommissioned.
We spoke to Phil very nicely as Commissioner of Wanderers TV and said, please, Phil, we've now paid him a very large amount of money, and it's back for season 2 next season.
And so many players to find out what their thoughts on
Ducks and Bears are. Who knew? Thank you, Dan Clark, for that question. It's an amazing question, and it's really got some legs on it.
Absolutely. Or
bears.
So next, under the spotlight, not that there was a spotlight, but this week, which you'll hear in full on the Wycombe Wanderers social media tomorrow, is Chris Farino.
Yes, he's very good. It's a very good episode, that's all I'm going to say.
There's quite a scientific feel midway through as well.
Yeah, who knew? You're going to learn something from this week's show.
Chris, a little bit nervous?
A little bit, yeah.
Welcome to the sofa. How you doing?
Yeah, good. Good day of training today, so a little bit tired, but excited to do it.
And are you ready for these fan questions?
Yes.
You've got some good ones here, and I think we'll just jump straight into it. So, question 1 from Silly Little Dream is, how does it feel to be called the UCAS Baresi?
I saw that last season, and I was like... a bit shocked, to be fair, but obviously I'm Italian. I love Italian defending and stuff, and I was just laughing. I remember one of the boys sent it to the group chat, and I was like, yeah, that's pretty good, to be fair.
That is good, being compared to a legend.
Yeah, he is a big legend.
Compliment. King Jamsey said, what's been your favourite away ground that you've played in?
I think Portman Road last year, even though we lost 1-0, that was, I think, like my third or fourth game in, and there was like 30,000, so it was a big jump in terms of numerical fan side of things. So that was really good. I think, probably Portman Road.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Very nice. Callum would like to know, not sport related, what's your favourite deodorant?
My favourite deodorant is I think it's Shaw Men, but at the moment I've got a Mitchum for the last
Shaw
couple of
Men
times.
is the best deodorant.
Yeah.
I prefer men's deodorant to women's deodorant. I feel like it works way better and it smells better as well.
It's weird because I'm probably the opposite sometimes.
Really?
I nick my sisters. Yeah, I'll go for my sister sometimes.
Okay, so
over
what's
mine.
the female deodorant that you like then?
I don't know. It's black and white and it's like curved. I think it might be Nivea if they do that. Yeah, I think it might be that.
Okay, there we go then. The Wycombe Way would like to know, have you set your sights on Wycombe captaincy yet?
I think I'm a long way off that. I mean, we've got a lot of experienced leaders, but I think I captained the team in the Papa Johns last year, so that was a really, really good moment in my career. I still look back at that because I think we had a couple of first teamers in, even though I hadn't played in the league yet. That was really nice to captain
maybe
the team.
Maybe one day then?
Maybe one day, yeah, I'd like to, but I think I'm a while off that, yeah.
John Granville's long throw said, what is something that's true that nobody agrees with you on? That's hard.
Oh dear. I'm the fastest in the team. No, I can't say that. I will say warm water freezes quicker than cold water.
Warm water freezes quicker than cold water?
Yeah. If you try to make ice out of cold water and warm water, the warm water will go to ice quicker. Does that make sense? I've worded that horrifically. Yeah. See, there we go.
There we go.
Type it in later, yeah.
Well, I'll have to try that. But I don't understand, so you put it in the freezer? What do you mean?
Yeah, if you try to get ice cubes, for example, stick it in a freezer, the warm water will reach the freezing temperature before the cold water.
There you go.
It types it in, there we go.
True.
Well, learn something new every day. Rebs would like to know, do you have any pets?
Half and half. So my sister moved out a couple of years ago and I still babysit the dog, and we've got the last game on Sunday. 2 days later I'm babysitting our dog, so I'm not allowed to go anywhere. I was planning to jet off somewhere, but yeah, I've got the dog for a week. Got a little
dog sitting.
Pug.
What dog? Oh, pug.
Pink lead as well. So
pink lead?
Yeah.
Very nice. Tony would like to know, what is your favourite Italian food?
Oh, I'm going to a restaurant. It's quite boring, but probably carbonara.
Oh, you can't go wrong with a bit of
carbonara.
Yeah,
that's the thing, you can't really go wrong unless I'm going to a really nice restaurant, which I don't do too often. Then yeah, carbonara, the Italian, yeah.
You might be offended because you're Italian, but I really like a spicy carbonara.
A spicy carbonara. Yeah. I'm a massive fan of spice, so a bit of chili flakes in there. Not going to.
Carbonara. Yeah. There we go then. Dom would like to know who trains best in the squad.
It's a hard one because obviously different days and stuff. But I'd say overall probably TJ. Probably TJ. Yeah. He's always at it more often than not.
Yeah. Well done, TJ. Good job. Beverly would like to know, what do you like doing when you're not training or playing football?
I go on and off the PlayStation. It's quite a man-child thing, but I do go on and off the PlayStation. I go through phases as well. I played loads of it for like a week and then not touch it. So there's that. And I go to the spa quite a bit, like steam room, sauna and stuff, which... just relax, turn off for an hour and a half.
Very nice. What's your favourite game to play on the PlayStation?
FIFA. Yeah, quite boring, yeah.
Harry has asked, what was the transition like from playing for Loughborough University to playing for Wycombe?
I'm quite honest, so I'm just going to say lifestyle, to be fair. Yeah, lifestyle change. It's quite different.
Yeah, I can imagine. Uni lifestyle.
Uni lifestyle to professional footballer lifestyle is quite a juxtaposition.
Great to hear from Chris Farino. As mentioned, you can hear the full episode of Knowing Me, Knowing Please on Wycombe Wanderers social media from tomorrow. We'll be hearing from Glyn Creaser next.
Online, on Radio Player and on 106.6 FM. This is Wycombe Sound.
Part 2 of this week's Wycombe Wanderers Show coming up, still to come in the final part. We'll hear from former captain and current manager Matt Bloomfield, looking ahead to the final game of the season away at Portsmouth on Sunday lunchtime. But first, if you're a regular listener to the show, you'll know at around this point in the programme, thanks to the Wycombe Wanderers Ex-Players Association, we speak to Yes, you guessed it. A former player, and this week I'm very excited and pleased to welcome back our very first Wycombe Wanderers ex-player who we spoke to when the show began way back in Series 1. We're on Series 3 now, if you're new to the show, by the way. And do cast your mind back 30 years, almost to the day, depending on when you're listening to the show, and a fantastic result against Runcorn, which saw the person that we're about to speak to lift the conference title. Glyn Creaser joins us this evening. Good morning. Good evening, Crease.
Hello there, how are you?
Really good, thank you. And more importantly, for reasons which I'm sure many fans know about, how are you?
Yeah, I'm not too bad, thank you. Yeah, I'm still breathing and still able to take part in these interviews with you guys. So yeah, grateful for that. So yeah, all good.
No, it's really good because obviously a lot's happened to you since we last spoke.
Indeed, yeah, for sure. A little bit unexpected, I guess. So, although I had previously had a problem with the ticker in 2004, but that was all relatively straightforward. But for some odd reason, I decided to take part in a charity game and found myself lying in the changing room at half-time, dead. So, but aside from that, after the medical people that did their business, they managed to get me back, and thankfully I'm still here.
Well, it's fantastic news, and I'm sure fans listening are so pleased to hear that you. I assume that you're well now.
Yep. Everything seems to have settled down. I don't think I'll be taking the boots. Well, I might put the boots on to go to training with the chaps on a Tuesday and a Thursday and be there on a Saturday, but it won't be me running around like a complete lunatic. So.
It sounds. I mean, it sounds the way you sort of describe it as quite a sort of a minor thing, but obviously a huge kind of event, and you must be so grateful for those that were able to kind of help you on the day and throughout your recovery, really.
Absolutely, yeah, absolutely. I mean, the people at the ground. I mean, before the game, they said obviously there was a number of people there, including myself, and others that were older than me that took part and what have you. But obviously, I had another underlying problem there, which after doing some running around in the probably the warmest day of the year. They were brilliant. The people, the doctors and the hospitals and everything else were absolutely superb. That it shouldn't come as a surprise to us. With the NHS and everything else, they're great people and they know what they're doing. And I was in good hands. I went in on the Sunday, came home on the Wednesday.
Fantastic, and it's so pleasing to hear that you've recovered well. And as we touched on at the beginning, I guess it doesn't feel like 30 years ago that as you say, you were lifting that trophy.
No. Well, to be fair, I wasn't expecting to lift the trophy. I didn't have any. I didn't have a shirt tucked up my jumper, waiting to put it on like JT does, and or he has done in the past. But no, the lads threw it upon me and surprised me and said, "Come on, you're going to go up and get the trophy," which I was absolutely. Well, I was delighted about it, obviously, and for them to think of me in that way was an honour.
Because in case fans don't know, you told the story when we last spoke to you, but you had a bit of an altercation with a forklift truck.
Yeah. It was. I think I was practicing me touch, but I didn't use my head this time. Perhaps if I used my head, I wouldn't have been in the problem. But yeah, I think it was after a trophy game on the Saturday. On the Monday lunchtime, I had an accident at work and broke my calcaneum, and as a result of that, I had to have various operations to get my foot back to something like normal, skin grafts and such like. So, yeah, so that was that. So, I mean, I think I'd seen 6 months off of the season, and then obviously I missed the back end of it. But the lads were absolutely brilliant again. We managed to get a promotion that year, which was, but whilst I wasn't involved on the pitch, I was certainly like to think I was involved off of it. So,
is it true to say the forklift came off unscathed as well?
Yeah, the forklift was all right. I mean, I'm not sure I understood probably the harsh words I said at the time, but yeah, the forklift. No forklifts that were harmed in the making of this programme. So yeah.
But such a special team as well that year, and also that some of the results that you had too leading to it.
Absolutely, yeah. I mean, the side was strong. I mean, it just seemed to be getting stronger all the time. Probably since we went to Adams Park, in fairness. And Martin brought in, one or two, and it wasn't overloaded, but what we had, and I guess it has to be credit to it's like Jim Kelman in some respects, because I think Martin used probably the nucleus of the squad that he'd sort of put together in terms of, not say used, but put his faith in us, and we seemed to just get on and do the job.
And there was a really strong spine to the team as well, and real great consistency as well.
Yeah, for sure. Obviously we had Johnny Granville in '91, and we had Heidi in '93, I think. And from there we had the likes of Matt Crossley and Andy Kerr in the centre of back four, and Jason Cousins came in. Jeff Cooper was there. We had Ryan and Stapleton. The consistency was pretty there. And then obviously up top we had the likes of Steve Thompson came in. I don't think Westy was involved that year, but then obviously Scotty, Hutchie, Hakan. It was just it was a good group of lads, and they had a really good bond, to be fair, and they still have.
And were there any games in that sort of campaign that really stood out the most for you?
You know what I was thinking is before you called, my memory of a lot of it now is you remember certain things when you talk to the lads about certain things. It sort of pops back in your mind. I remember that. But do you know what? Most of the games I don't remember a lot of them anyway. I used to prepare in my own way, and when I was playing, and it was just I got myself in a position where I knew I was going to go out there and do the best I could for the lads, and I always did that. I prepared my way, and I think I don't know whether Martin would agree with it, but I think he would be disappointed if I didn't have 3 or 4 pints on a Friday just to get myself in the right zone. But yeah, memory-wise, obviously winning that final was absolutely awesome. And then obviously ultimately picking up the league, winning the league as well was absolutely fantastic. And the supporters have always been so solid in terms of, how they go about the support they gave us in '91. I think we had 25,000 people there at Wembley, and then again I think it was a 30-odd thousand crowd in '93, and then we had a full house on the last day of the season when we won the trophy. So when we won the actual league, so they've always been brilliant and so supportive, and that makes a massive difference.
And of course playing Preston as well with the likes of David Moyes and of course Gareth in that team too.
Yeah, it was funny because I was looking at a picture of us walking out, and I think, and I saw Gareth in the background wearing the Preston shirt, and I thought, oh, there's Gareth. I didn't even know he was playing that day, to be fair. Genuinely didn't know he was in the side. I knew obviously Moisey was playing, but it was, that was a fantastic day. Listen, I think Martin said it himself. It's like you ruse selection if you lose, and you're vindicated in selection if you win, and it's just. It's one of them where I don't know, everything on that day just seemed to click, and I've watched back the final against Preston, the playoff final, and some of the football the boys played in front of us was absolutely outstanding.
And did it feel at the time like it was a really special time for the club? So obviously you just recently moved to Adams Park, and riding high in the non-league as well. Yeah,
for sure. Yeah, again, I guess there was almost an expectation. I think we knew inside how good we were in terms of if we all clicked on the day and we went about our business in the way we knew we could, then we knew we would win football matches. We could score and we could defend. So as simple as that sounds, that is primarily what it's all about. Stop them from scoring and try and score as many as you can. And then we had our hiccups along the way, but we were never a side that was ever going to get beaten by a lot, but we would always be able to win games through, I think, the togetherness as much as anything else. But the actual time from, even when we left Lokes Park with the likes of, the George Best and John Robertsons and all the chaps that Martin got down to that particular game to close the ground down, if you like. from there onwards, it was. I think the term's been used on one or two of the videos. The only way is up, because that's what it felt like. And we went into a fantastic stand, fantastic new ground, with players who could exploit the space that we had on the pitch.
I think that was something that really stood out, wasn't it? The real kind of exciting, attacking style of football that you were playing. Yeah,
for sure. Yeah, I mean, and why wouldn't you? With the likes of Carroll and Guppy in areas of the park where you've got, two strikers that want to get on the end of things and know where the ball's going to be put, and the likes of the Stapletons of this world and the Keith Ryans who had just a phenomenal engine on them that could get them up and down the pitch all the time. It was brilliant. And then the likes of Thompson coming in, and then more latterly Simon Gartner and Big Cyril Regis was with us for a little while as well. It was amazing. We had quality, but I think we knew we had that in terms of providing we give them the service. And I think obviously Dave Carroll and Steve Guppy did it in bundles at times.
And a great camaraderie in the dressing room as well, which obviously helps.
Brilliant, absolutely brilliant. Yeah. There was no egos. It was if there were, they weren't in there long, and it was certainly tempered down if anybody felt that way. But from my time at the club, I never noticed any of that sort of stuff, because it's just not how things work. And if you want things to work well and go well, then those things have to be nipped in the bud. But we managed that ourselves in many respects. But we had a fantastic group of players with the right attitude, and they were winners.
Because playing over 200 times, yourself, and obviously, there are so many other players around that team, it must have been so easy for others to come in, and feel really settled and feel part of that team as well.
Yeah, for sure, yeah. And I think in some respects, I felt that was part of my job, is to anybody that came in, whether they were new or from other clubs or whatever, you make them feel welcome and try and help them as best way you can if they want help. But ultimately, they have to want to be part of what we've already got, and be part of that bonded unit that we had, and we had that as well. In we had Kim Casey that came in, Hakan Herretin came in, and there was a few others that was on the peripheral, if you like, on a few occasions, but they always felt part of it, and that's the most important thing, because it's about the squad, and it's about the whole unit rather than individuals.
And obviously I remember the time very well coming along as a supporter, and it just felt like, there was a great relationship with both the players and the manager, obviously, and the manager and the fans as well, and the players.
Oh, for sure, yeah. I mean, yeah, Martin was pretty clear about what he wanted, and I mean, he didn't hold his punches when he felt there was need to say something, and by the same token, he would praise you and tell you if you did well, and and what have you. But the relation. I think the relationship between, as far as I'm aware, that Martin and the supporters was good. But certainly he had our respect in terms of obviously his managerial prowess, if you like, because he's been there and done it. I think I've seen him a couple of times on the telly talking to individuals that haven't been near a European Cup or even at a final, and he has no bones in making a point of that. He says, just remind me how many times you've been to the European Cup final, and they haven't. So he's got that in his armoury as well. So he's got plenty of experience and knowledge to fall back on. Certainly from the point of view of playing for, obviously, Nottingham Forest at the time, when under probably one of the best managers this country's ever seen.
And what was it like sort of being part of that team as well and in that dressing room?
I loved it. I loved it. It was one of those where you look forward to going. You just want to be involved with the chaps, having the crack, going about your business, coming off and having a couple of beers afterwards and celebrating or whatever. And it was good times, absolutely amazing times. And obviously winning helps. But even when on bad days, if you like, when we might have lost 1-0 or lost 2-1, no one was down, because you knew you had another game to put that right. And we took our chances and we took our opportunities at the time for all the lads, to make names for themselves. And I think that most of that squad, if you asked I have to remember I'm quite a lot older now, but if you asked a lot of the people that were around at the time, they were probably some of the happiest days. And I know Gareth's done fantastically well in his time at the club with what he's achieved and got him into, the higher levels. But again, that now is a different beast. We had a lot of players who turned professional from the non-league setup, and obviously as you go into the professional game and you're bringing in, if you like, you're bringing in more professionals into the professional setup. I think I'm not sure you get the same bond as we had as a group of players. In quite the same way, because we grew up together playing the game in non-league and then managed to get into the league and managed to find our way into the what was it then, second division, wasn't it? Yeah,
sure.
Yeah.
So was there a point where you thought, we could really do something special here?
Yeah, I think we always believed we could win any game we went into. I think no one went in there thinking, oh God, we're going to get done today or anything like that. We always went out there with a positive attitude, and if we started right and got it right, then we would invariably win the game. I think we went to, was it Carlisle in the I think this was the first leg of the playoffs at Carlisle, and then we obviously got them back home. But we drew up there the first game of the season, and we didn't fear going there, and we was in a much better place then. But I think, as Simon Garner used to say about the playoffs, he thinks if you finish fourth, you should get promoted. And that, as it turns out, we finished fourth and we did get promoted, but we had to go via Wembley. So it's always a nice day out, but it obviously makes it much better if you win.
No, absolutely. And I guess as well, sort of expectations, both of the fans, but also you as a group as well, were quite different to sort of what they are today as well.
Yeah, I would imagine today the way that the supporters look at it, I was thinking they want us to obviously do well, but how they go about getting out of the division they're in now and then getting up again and then pushing potentially to go up again. It is a massive ask, because whilst it's, I guess in the scheme of things, Wycombe's still quite a small club in some respects, but to be up there and fighting with the big boys, it's it'll take an awful lot. But I mean, I think there are a die-hard group of people that live in Wycombe have grown up watching us and still as engaged with being a supporter of Wycombe Wanderers Football Club as they've ever been, which is important. It's important for the town, it's important for the club.
And I imagine as well a huge sense of pride for yourself, obviously leading the team, but also the other members of that group for really kind of setting the foundations, if you like, as to where the club are now.
Oh, absolutely, yeah. I was playing for Barnet on a Tuesday night at Wycombe and got sent off, and I had a phone call the following day telling me I was going to speak to the Wycombe people, and I think I'd had one or two phone calls after that asking me to return because Barnet didn't have a particularly good run after I'd been got rid of, if you like. And I just decided to stay where I was. And, they always say don't have any regrets, and I don't have any regrets at all. Whilst Barnet went up before Wycombe did, what we achieved and what I've done at the age that I was at the time, which I was probably about 31 when we first went to Wembley, and then beyond that I don't remember Barnet doing any of that.
And something so special as well about a what you've achieved, but also I assume you're still in touch with many of those players today, and obviously you're still involved with the ex-players as well. And I don't think there are many kind of industries, if you like, where that happens. No,
absolutely not. But it does take a little bit of effort from everybody. The ex-players association is what it is. And it's about getting as many of the people involved with that. To obviously understand and maintain. I mean, we've still got loads of ex-players. John Maskell, we've got Sammy and Vince involved with the committee. But you know, they put a lot of time and effort and work into that, and then it's up to the ex-players, if you like, to take some responsibility for joining the Ex-Players Association. For £20 a year is nothing. We have a few events where you get a chance to get together and have a pint, a glass of wine, or have a chat, or just see some old faces and have the crack. You know, it's that's equally as important, because you know some memories as you get older are hard to keep in your head, or you just think, actually, you know what, it's really nice that one night or two occasions, 3 occasions a year where you see some old friends. It's just a really nice thing to do. And the club's always very welcoming for any ex-players that go back down there. So I would, you know, certainly be promoting the Ex-Players Association for everybody to get involved, where, you know, if they want to, of course. But it's very engiable.
And does it feel like 30 years ago? I guess obviously what you've been through in the last couple of years, anything would feel like a long time ago. But
you know, I was speaking to JDT the other day, and it was just like, he said 30 years. I was like, oh my God, yeah. And then I went to 93, 21, bloody hell, it's 30 years. You know, it's just it doesn't. You know, we still talk about it. Still go on to whatever it is, YouTube, and have a look at, you know, some of the old footage of games and interviews and stuff like that. But it certainly doesn't feel like it's that length of time. But they're great. It's great to have the memories that we've all got. You know, absolutely amazing to have those memories about. You know, but I think you probably have memories of not being successful. But obviously, when you are successful as a group, then you know that's really special.
And of course, shorts were considerably shorter then.
Yeah, it was either that or my bum was big. Well, I don't know, whichever. Yeah, but yeah, for sure. Yeah, I mean, some of the baggy ones now, they'd suit me down to the ground. But yeah, they were definitely shorter for sure.
Well, it's been a real pleasure to speak to you. Really pleased that you're well, and really nice to reflect on the memories with you.
Yeah, sure. Thanks very much for calling.
Brilliant to speak to you. Glyn Creaser speaking to us here at Wycombe Sound.
Online, on Radio Player, and on 106.6 FM. This is Wycombe Sound.
Final part of this week's Wycombe Wanderers Show still to come. We'll hear from manager Matt Bloomfield. Also on the show, if you're a regular listener, you know we like to feature Wycombe Wanderers women and find out what the under-18s, the reserves and the first team's up to. I'm very pleased to say Craig joins us from training at Burnham. Very good evening to you.
Evening, Colin. How you doing?
Really good, thank you. And you?
I'm very well, yes, and absolutely. I'm here at training at Burnham Thursday night, so Tuesday and Thursday we're down here at Burnham, and yes, I'm live at location tonight.
Absolutely, yeah. Can't get enough of it. So plenty going on still, really, because obviously the first team have finished, but really good news. We spoke to obviously the manager of the reserves, and they were preparing for their semi-final, and they're through to the final.
Yes, Colin, they did. They beat Watford 4-2 away on Saturday, which they lost twice in the league against them. So for them, it was an incredible achievement and a massive coup. So yes, they've got Fulham a week, Saturday on the 13th of May. That game's going to be at neutral ground in Cambridge. So we're going to be taking a big following up there. Lots of friends, family, and close support will be going up to Cambridge on the 13th.
A fantastic achievement and real great sort of credits to those involved, both the coaches and obviously, you know, the sort of strength of the side.
Absolutely, and I think for most of the season, the under-18s have almost been like the backbone of the club, because in times when the sort of first team and the reserve team have needed vital players, the under-18s obviously supplied and supplied that. And with both of those seasons finished, the under-18s are able to field their maximum team and their best team, and I think that's why, you know, you've seen them beat Watford and hopefully push Fulham on the 13th all the way.
Oh, we mentioned the first team season is finished, but the football's not really finished, because there've been some post-season friendlies too.
Yeah, a couple of post-season games played Abbey Rangers, beg your pardon, a couple of Sundays ago, and won 4-1. And then they played the Leicester City Academy, which was an incredible sort of experience away at the training ground Sunday just gone. So yeah, Carl was very keen to kind of keep the momentum going from the season and keep the girls playing. But then to add to that, on the 14th, the day after the under-18s final, we'll be doing a sort of family and sponsors day. So we kind of give thanks to all the sponsors that have sort of supported us and backed us this season, and all the individual sponsors that the girls have had as well. There's, all of them have individual sponsors that sort of help them with fees and sort of running costs and things like that. And obviously the friends and family and stuff, a lot of the girls that are, especially our under 18s, obviously they can't drive, they're not old enough to yet. So without parents and uncles and aunties and grandmas and granddads, it would, we wouldn't be able to do what we do without them. So yeah, the 14th of May against Maidenhead United, we're going to have a little Sponsors Cup day. So little post-season sort of friendly trophy on the line as well, which will make for good fun.
So give us a bit of a flavour on what goes on a Tuesday and a Thursday night.
Well, on the Tuesday and the Thursday, I guess at the moment, I'd say right in front of me right now, we've got two sort of things in operation. We've got the under 18s on one side of the pitch, working together, working as a unit, and then to the left hand side of me at the moment, we've got the sort of mixture of firsts, reserves, a few trialists. And in the middle of the season, Colin, we can have three different groups. The reserves, the first team, and the under 18s all training individually with their managers and their coaching staff. So. And then we generally come down towards the end of training. We normally play 11v11, and get some vital experience in regards to trying new things. And this is the best place to do it. So it's very, very busy right now. There's lots of people here.
So tell us what's next for both the under 18s and the reserves.
So obviously the under 18s have got the final. That's we covered that. That's really big. For the reserves, transition time. The reserves will be no more. It's going to be rebranded to the under 23s. That's going to be for us a positive step forward from a club point of view to kind of rebrand and follow that suit of not being a reserve team and just being an under 23 side. So that's them, and again that we're looking to add to both of those squads through trialists and girls moving up because of age necessity from the under 18s up to the under 23s. So there'll be movement from that as well. And then obviously the again the first team, we're looking for girls to come and make that step up from the unders, whether that's now under 23s or the under 18s to that first team. And I think training's a perfect chance to do that. You can pit yourself. If you're an under 18 or an under 23, you can pit yourself against a first team player in training. And if you do well at that, then when you do get called up to the first team, it's not so much of a shock, if that makes sense, and much of a culture shock when you do play against first team football against women as opposed to girls.
And a great opportunity, I'm sure, for aspiring youngsters who'd like to get involved. With the coming season coming up as well, real plans in place for recruitment as well.
Yeah, and if you can check out our social media, mainly it's on Facebook, but mainly on Twitter, we are posting links where people can apply to come for a trial. Obviously, we want to know a little bit more about them before we allow people to come down. But yes, we're very active at the moment in that and looking for post-season friendlies, pre-season friendlies, and attracting new players down to training.
It sounds really great, kind of social side of it as well, not just the football. We spoke to so many players throughout the season who, say it's like a family and everyone gets on so well.
Well, absolutely, and a prime example of that is this Sunday. There's about 20-25 of us, and that's players, coaches, myself, and our partners and stuff. We're all going to go to watch a WSL game, so that'll be nice. Sort of go as a group and sort of sit back and watch the football instead of worrying about what we're doing in it.
No, that sounds fantastic. Do check out Wycombe Wanderers' social media to find out more. Thanks so much for your time.
You're very welcome, Colin. Have a good one.
You too. Craig speaking to us from Burnham this evening. Final part of the show. Let's chat to Wycombe Wanderers manager Matt Bloomfield, who was speaking to us earlier on today at Adams Park after taking training. And obviously we mentioned that last weekend's result, not what wanted, but really influenced preparations for Sunday's game down at Portsmouth.
It obviously added an extra layer of disappointment and anger, I think, from the result on Saturday and the performance, later on in the game. So I thought we started quite well, as I said, after the game on Saturday and brightly, but we were disappointed with how it played out, and we have to make sure that our performance levels are right going into Portsmouth on Sunday.
You said after the game about learning. Have you learned a lot from that game?
Yeah, I actually have, and that's been really helpful. Watched the game back twice taken some more from that, about the players, about the situation, about myself, about the job ahead. I think the last couple of weeks have been really, really good in terms of knowing what I want to do moving forward and how we do that. Obviously, I've spoken several times about the respect I have for the job I've come into and the job that's been done previously. But I think the time's right now for me to put my own stamp on things and make the team and the club my own, and I have a clear direction in how I want to do that, and it's now about making sure I implement what I want to do.
Is there an extra incentive, if that's the right word, on this final game of the season for players to really kind of like impress you in terms of, I guess, sort of contracts for next season and what you're looking for?
Yeah, I think there has to be, about how we're planning on moving forward. I think we have really clear, defined ideas in our minds, but we have to be dictated to by what we have in the building first and foremost, and then what we can bring in. So I think it's a really important weekend for myself and the boys to make sure we approach it in the right manner. I must say that the training the last three days has been really high tempo, really high intensity, and that won't change. Obviously, there's some disappointed people at the end of the game on Saturday, but we've trained well, we've worked extremely hard, and I hope that continues right through to the end of the game on Sunday.
Is there anything in particular you'll be looking for on Sunday?
Yes, most certainly so, and I've shared that with the boys. I'm looking forward to seeing hard work, intensity. Any football team that represents me will represent that first and foremost. I think intensity, hard work, running, enthusiasm, they're all the things that define us as a football club, and they'll define any football team that I'm in charge of, and we have to see that on Sunday.
It sounds obvious, but really important to be ending on a high as well.
Most certainly so. I wanted that last week and it didn't happen, so I certainly want it to happen on Sunday.
And will you be expecting a particularly difficult challenge from Portsmouth as well?
Yeah, most certainly so. It can't be underestimated, the challenge we face, away at Fratton Park. I know there's going to be a lot of people in the ground, and John's done a really good job in the time that he's been there. They've got a really good squad of players. I know they're under a little bit of change themselves in terms of old management and new, so it's a tough game at a historic ground that we always enjoy going to visit, so we have to make sure we're ready for that.
And I know you spoke briefly after the game on Saturday as well about the ownership situation as well, but again, something quite exciting for fans to sort of look forward to.
Yeah, I think I have to get that balance right with my feelings, my thoughts and feelings of this week. I've had a real balance between the ultimate disappointment of last weekend and frustration, but the excitement of what we're creating moving forward. I'm really excited and pleased that the Coohigs, Rob, Missy and Pete have acquired the extra share in the football club. I think that's a fantastic step for us as a football club, enables us to move forward, and I'm really excited to be a part of that. I want to make sure that there's exciting times ahead, and I know there is with the Coohigs at the top of it. So like I say, there's been a balance this week between disappointment and frustration from last week's game, but excitement about what the future may bring.
And have there been parts since you've taken over where you've had to sort of think about next season already, and the planning, has that already started?
It's already started, yeah. I think that a vital part of leadership and management is to focus on the here and now, but also have an eye on the future, because we have to plan for the short, medium and long term. That's what we're employed to do. We had to have our focus on finishing as high up the table as we possibly could, and ultimately that's what we were doing. But now we have to finish the season strongly and move on to the summer and as quickly as we can to make sure we're ready. But first and foremost, I have to say I want to make sure that we finish this season strongly, because I want to go into the summer with a spring in our steps.
And what will be your message to supporters going into this final game?
I think thank you for their welcome back, thank you for their support. The reception I received in the bar after the game on Saturday from those that stayed to see me, I thought was incredible, and I was certainly extremely touched by that, very, very touched by that. There's incredible supporters at this football club, undoubtedly. There's incredible people here. It's one of the reasons why I stayed so long the first spell, and I want to create a big future moving forward. So thank you for their support, and also to reassure them and for them to know that we will be working all summer, we won't stop, and making sure that we're ready for pre-season. We're excited for that, and we'll finish strongly on Sunday, and then we make sure we're ready for pre-season.
If you're going to Fratton Park on the final game of the season, do enjoy. If you're not, you'll get full live commentary here on Wycombe Sound and on Wanderers TV as well. Join us for the next and final Wycombe Wanderers show next week.